Happy December, everybody. Let us know where you're tuning in from. We love having our viewers from all over the world, and lovely to have a Triple J in studio today. Jermaine Beckford and Julien Laurence today. Jules, let's start with you. Great to have December. That means back-to-back football, right?
Yeah, of course. And thank you for joining us after your shift at the bank today. Delighted to have you.
Air hostess, you want the chicken or the beef?
The airline. I don't know where you were flying back from.
So this way.
Yeah, this way, in case of an emergency. But yeah, great football. No, December is always very special, of course, in England because of the tradition of Boxing Day, and you would have played in many of them. So yeah, very much looking forward to it.
Listen, I was not prepared for the cold. I was not built for the cold. And now we are here. I'm normally talking about, beach times and having some cocktails on the beach because it's summer. And now we're here discussing boots. And do you have warm enough jumpers? Thank you.
I do indeed. I'm come prepped for the snow. Got the big boots on today just to make sure. Look, I'm a December baby. I was born in December, so I know what it's about. I came prepared. Got to be safe.
They say if it's December, you should celebrate every day. We don't see any cake, any champagne, anything in studio next time.
It's my birthday, so you lot should be surprising me, treating me.
That's
how we do it in my house.
No, that's not how it works.
No? All right, next time.
That's not how it works. Well, how it does work is we're going to tell you what you can look forward to on this episode of Team Talks. In focus, first up is City's clash with Spurs. Let's hear from Pep Guardiola, then Ange Postecoglou.
He's just them.
Ange is looking forward to it, so are all of us. A couple of weeks ago, Jules, this would have been a top-of-the-table clash. Very different now.
Very different. 3 defeats in a row for Tottenham, of course, with all the injuries and the suspensions. There will be a very weekend again to go to the Etihad, where, apart from the Liverpool draw, City had won 23 games in a row in our competition, which is an incredible record. So it would be hard for them. We were wondering before the show together, if you were Postecoglou, would you play the same high line defensively? Would you go a bit more cautious on the start of the game? I think for me, he will have to adjust. If he doesn't adjust, I fear it could be a very long afternoon for them.
Yeah, that's a big question I think all of us want to know, because Ange Ball, as we've been calling it, they were unbeaten in the opening 10 games of the season. We all loved it. Now 3 defeats in a row. Do they stick with Ange Ball because they have, or should they be a little bit more conservative?
Look, you're playing against arguably one of the best, if not the best, footballing side in world football. So you have to adjust your game accordingly, taking into account especially the players that are out injured as well. He would be crazy to play that high line, that forward-thinking, aggressive football against this City team with the players that he has at his disposal. However, I can still see him doing it because we saw, was it Chelsea, the 4-4 game? The way Chelsea got the result there was by pressing really high up the pitch and being really aggressive, being on the front foot, getting in City's faces. And it worked for them to an extent. They scored 4 goals against them. Not many teams can say that they've done it against City. So for him to be able to get some kind of result, I think that's what he would have to do. However, look, we're talking about the personnel that's available to him as well. He's got a lot of key players out injured, which is going to make a massive, massive difference to the quality that's actually on the pitch. I fear it's going to be a very difficult game for him.
Because one of the early markers of Tottenham and what was so impressive was the way in which they were able to score goals. They were scoring it for fun. It was amazing to watch. In these 3 defeats, they've only scored 1 goal per game.
Yeah, they still create chances, though. If you look at all the underlying stats, not just the goals and the assists or shots on target, even expected goals, but the expected goals are good. So they create that. But when you lose Maddison, who was at the heart of everything good that you were doing creatively, it's difficult. I still think there's a place for Giovanni Lo Celso a bit higher up the pitch than what he was doing against Villa, for example. But yeah, you will always lack creativity when Maddison isn't there. So it's up to Kulusevski, to Lo Celso, to Brian Johnson, for example, Son. Even Brian Will and Son up front to make up for that. It's difficult, though. So it's been worrying, I think. Maybe it's not so much the lack of goals. It's more that I feel without Van der Ven and Romero were, for me, the best partnership in the Premier League defensively.
100%.
Them and Saliba, Gabriel, those 4. You've lost both of them. Romero is coming back in the following game, so he's still out for the City game. But Van der Ven, we won't see him before January or maybe even February. And I think this is maybe where Ange needs the most those defenders to play the high line. Ben Davies and Emerson Royal at centre-backs can't do this.
That's another reason why I fear for Spurs, because you've got those 2 players up against the best striker in the world, in Erling Haaland. The guy is an absolute god. He bullies some of the best defenders in the world. And with all due respect to those 2 guys, the reason that they're not the number 1 and number 2 pairings at the back is because their quality is not necessarily there. They're not physically there either. They've not got the pace either to deal with a player of Haaland's quality. So it's watching how City play, the amount of ball they have, the creative aspects they have as well, the players they have. It's going to be crazy. As a neutral, I'm super excited about watching it to see how both teams fare. But if you're a follower of Spurs, I'll be worried.
Well, the thing about City, as you mentioned, they've got Erling Haaland, goal machine, incredible, but they have so many other players as well. And one who's impressed all of us, he brings something so different than what we've seen, is Doku.
Oh, my God.
Here's what's coming up on match week 14, Arsenal versus Wolves. Brentford, Luton, and a big one at the bottom of the table, Burnley and Sheffield United all kick off at the same time. Nottingham Forest take on Everton, and then at the end of the night, it's Newcastle's clash with Manchester United. 5 games on Sunday as well. Chelsea's clash with Brighton and Liverpool Fulham all kick off at the same time. West Ham Crystal Palace too, and then centre stage for Manchester City and Tottenham. Here's the state of play in the Premier League heading into match week 14. There's a new leader, Arsenal, at top of the table, just a point above Man City. Liverpool a further point behind, and they are level on points with Aston Villa into the top 4. That was one of the big breaking stories of match week 13. Tottenham in 5th place, Manchester United in 6th, just 1 point clear of the team they do face on the weekend. That's Newcastle. Chelsea into the top 10. Bottom half of the Premier League table looks like this. Luton, Sheffield United, Everton and Burnley all in danger of that drop zone there, the bottom 3 as it stands. Bournemouth just a little bit of a gap on Luton, but so close to call between Brentford, Wolves, Crystal Palace, Fulham and Nottingham Forest as well as Bournemouth. So very tight at the top, very close at the bottom as well. And